Welcome to IFS Voices of Industry, stories from the people building the backbone of the world's industries with AI that actually works. Each episode features IFS experts who worked on the front lines of industry in manufacturing plants, energy grids, aircraft hangars, and construction sites. They bring real-world experience to the conversation, sharing what's changing, what's next, and how AI is being applied to make operations safer, faster, and more resilient. Today, I'm joined by Robi Gone, Chief Information Officer at IFS. Robi manages the technology environment that supports our operations, growth, and innovation. Welcome to Voices of Industry, Robi.
Thanks, Sajani. It's great to be here.
To start us off, Robi, your career has taken you across consulting and large global enterprises. Looking back at that journey, what was it about IFS and this role in particular that made you feel that this is the right next step for you in your career?
Oh, thanks, Sajani. Multiple things, to be quite honest with you. If I think about my career transforming major companies using ERP, and then I look at what IFS offers to our clients, then I think it's really quite extraordinary. The industry depth that we have in our core industries, coupled with AI at the core, is really quite compelling. So it wasn't a difficult decision for me to come across and join on the board as a CIO. It was a pretty easy decision, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that. And 6 months in, Robi, what is your impression of the culture and the people at IFS?
I had an impression that it is a very dynamic, innovative company, but I think, the scale of that and the velocity and the intensity of that is really an order of magnitude greater than what I envisaged, if you want. And then the other thing is really the discipline that people rally around a common cause. For me, has just been deeply impressive. That I've been very enthusiastic about. Is something that I think other companies only can wish for, whilst in IFS it's really part of the DNA, it's part of the culture.
That's definitely 100% true. You have spent many years in the energy and resources sector inside a complex global business that looks a lot like the customers that we serve today. So what did working in that environment teach you about reliability, safety, and data that you now bring into your role at IFS?
Yeah, I think if I split that, in terms of reliability and safety, coming in from the energy, resources, utilities world, the margin for error is zero. The threshold's extremely tight, or there is no threshold. And that's exactly how IFS needs to operate and do operate with the customers we serve in their hardcore industries. So there's actually tremendous synergy when it comes to those sort of factors. I think the other is the importance of data that unlocks so much value, particularly around AI, particularly around transforming processes, and how IFS then rally the data story into the innovation and AI story. There's actually quite a lot of synergy from what I've experienced over the last 26 years.
Definitely. And on that topic of transforming processes, you have led technology programs at the heart of finance and operations. Why does a strong digital background matter so much for performance and resilience in today's environment?
I think there's a few things. I think fundamentally companies are looking to make, if I simplify it, better decisions. They're looking to optimize their processes so they run faster, better, cheaper. And I think finally they're really looking to, have organizational agility. So whether that's agility from M&A, acquisitions and mergers, or whether that's agility to break into new markets, they're fundamental. Now, having a digital backbone that's rock solid, has that flexibility and that clarity without multiple manual processes, give companies now a winning edge, which is actually crucial.
And these large transformation initiatives, they have a reputation for being complex or maybe sometimes even painful, right? So across the programs that you have led, what are the key lessons that you have learned about what it really takes to succeed?
I think there's the common answers that anyone would give, but there's some truth in them, and then I'll maybe mention a couple more things that I think are a bit more unique, and I'd highly advocate any leader to do on a massive transformation. Having very clear governance and sponsorship, I think, is absolutely crucial, and I know that's a very obvious answer. I think working with the business as what I call two in the box. So let's say IT and finance or IT and sales work in lockstep of what's the common goal, the objectives, the targets, and then working that level of detail every day relentlessly is really a winning formula. So there's no difference. It's one team and it's one enterprise view. They're key. I think what I'd also advocate, and I have done this on my last few really big transformations, is what I call a match fit phase. So before you actually start the project proper, do a match fit phase, do a preparation phase where you really look at the data, the integration, you look at the tech standards, you look at how you're going to deploy and realize the benefits of that program. So do a match fit phase, and that will then de-risk the future program. I've done that now 3 times, and it's paid dividends where we've delivered projects on time, on scope, per plan. So that probably be my top tips.
And now we've talked about data a little bit. AI is only as strong as the data and processes beneath it. From your perspective, from a CIO perspective, what needs to be true in an organization's architecture before it can really benefit from capabilities like industrial AI?
Look, in an ideal world, what I think any CIO or any senior leader would want is potable data, drinkable data, clean data, good data models, access to it, available, and then they can go, right, okay, I can now get my insight, I can build AI agents on top of that. But they see a major dependency on data, right? And that is somewhat true. Fundamentally, if you're going to do a major transformation, you need good data. But what I'd say, my top tip, if you want, would be that get started. So in parallel, there will be pockets of your processes and business where the data is good enough for you to get started and then fail fast if you need to. But don't be hung up on making sure that every bit of data is perfect before you actually start your transformation through AI. I'd say get started, be brave on your business case to do it and then go, right? So don't, delay on that, because the more you do that, you'll be waiting for a perfect world of data that may never actually happen. Yeah, so get started would be my top advice, really.
Of course. And thinking back to your time in energy and resources, where do you see the clearest opportunities for industrial AI to change how these similar businesses plan, operate, and make decisions today?
Yeah, you know what? At a fundamentals level, there's many businesses today that are still doing lots of manual activity in their end-to-end process, where they're downloading data, stitching it together, perhaps putting it into some reporting Power BI type world, and then going, hey, this is touchless or automated. But it's actually massively manual. It's not very agile, and it's certainly not very real time. I think with the growth of AI, we can really bypass quite a lot of these things. We can build agents on top of that data alongside those systems or at a platform level, and we can just transform and leapfrog many of the traditional ways of doing things. So I think that'd be core in terms of transforming end-to-end processes. And I think what's absolutely key is that we look at a process, look at the bottlenecks within it, look at the issues and go, right, okay, instead of thinking about doing a full, if you want, greenfield type implementation of a new system like an ERP, then where can you apply AI to really transform those internal processes? I think that'd be the key, that is the difference really about how we apply AI to a more traditional way of thinking about it.
And before we end, one final question for you, Robi. What excites you the most about the journey that IFS is on right now, and especially at this intersection of enterprise technology, industrial AI, and the customers that we serve?
To be quite frank with you, I think it's the way we're driving AI with our customers in such a deep and meaningful way. So whether that's the embedded AI that we have in our systems, whether that's the platform level AI where we can link multiple data sets together, or whether that's going out to the customers and looking at very specific issues and problems they have that have significant value, if we can solve them, and then applying real AI to that. So I think when we look at the full stack, I think that's really quite a game changer. It really beats what the market's doing, and it's very real. It's not a conversation or a talk track. It's what we're doing day in and day out. And that, with my background, seeing that in a very real way is extremely exciting. So I'm delighted to help that journey, work with our customers and make that happen.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining Voices of Industry, Robi.
My absolute pleasure, and thanks for having me.